Hi, I'm Adrian Bowles, and this is a short overview of Storm Insights, my new market analytics firm, and the Storm Open Data Project, which I launched to help buyers of emerging technologies make better decisions, and vendors of these technologies do a better job of recognizing opportunities. Today's executives want to understand how to leverage new and emerging technologies to make their organizations more responsive and effective. For decades, they've turned to the big research firms or the analyst firms to help with technology acquisition strategies. But lately, I think this is becoming an exercise in futility. The big firms talk what my colleague Jonathan Yarmus calls SMAC, Social, Mobile, Analytics, and Cloud, but they don't segment their advisory research this way. By the time they do, the market will have moved on to things like cognitive computing and augmented reality, additive manufacturing, 3D printers, and a host of new technologies that are still in the lab, but not far from being useful. I think this disconnect between the needs of the buyers and the producers of emerging technologies can best be solved by an approach that allows the buyers to take control of the process. A self-service approach, but that's not in the interests of the firms today that have the data. So we need a new and more open source of data to make these decisions. Buyers have to be able to define their requirements or interests in their own terms, and get on-demand analysis using high-quality data. They shouldn't have to wait for an out-of-date annual report on a small market segment to validate a decision. And frankly, analysts shouldn't have to wait either. There's a better way. Storm is a new database built on an open model inspired by the Oxford English Dictionary, Wikipedia, and open source software projects. We're building it to serve a global community of emerging tech buyers and sellers. Putting data about companies and products into Storm is free. Querying the database is free. Reports are generated on demand and automatically, so they can't be influenced or biased by analyst relationships or company relationships with vendors. Anyone who enters bad data will quickly find that a community of peers is not amused by hyperbole or fiction. This model rewards innovation and puts startups on the same level as industry giants. Storm Insights is the company building Storm, and we're going to make it available soon for free use by anyone who signs up for an authenticated account. In the Storm view of the world, markets are in the center because that's where buyers' needs meet sellers' offerings. Our predefined markets are categories like mobile, analytics, cloud, social, cognitive, and augmented reality, that elusive middle layer. But in the real world, a buyer is likely to be interested in something much more narrowly defined based on their own context. For example, they might ask a query like, tell me about the mobile analytics tools market, where the tools follow a specific set of standards. They're being used by a financial services client in the Czech Republic, maybe that's where I want to set up shop, and come from vendors who've been in business for more than 4 years and have revenues greater than $10 million US. So a query like that, we wanted to be able to enable Storm users to dynamically define these micromarkets for an on-demand report. Here's how we're doing it. My team is putting data from hundreds of companies and products in Storm today, and soon we'll open it up for community contributions. When the Storm database is fully populated and a prospective buyer or interested party wants to look for a product or service, they query Storm through our system, and it's all free. That's the left side of this diagram. On the right side, you can see how we plan to pay for this without charging access fees or displaying ads. As a query is processed, we analyze the query in context, analyze the on-demand report, what's coming out of it, and generate alerts and reports to our paying clients, typically the vendors, based on their own profile. For example, a vendor may be interested in getting a report when their competitors start appearing in buyer requests, and they're not present. So if my competitors are there, I need to see why. Or maybe there's a sudden interest in a specific geographic market or a combination of requirements for a targeted NAICS code, a market that we want to go after. The basic query services are designed to be free in perpetuity and only require a minimal effort to create an authenticated anonymous personal profile. Premium services will be rolled out in future releases, beginning with the vendor services I just described. We have a great team in place to ensure that we can execute on this vision. I'm really humbled to have such an all-star team advising me at this stage. It's a long journey, but we've taken our first steps, and we'd like to have you with us as we move forward.